This is a Fulcrum Side Quest Minisode. Short, focused opinions on psychology and storytelling, personal reflections, unscripted thoughts, maybe even some of your suggestions. Here's Fulcrum.
Welcome to Side Quests, a minisode series from Dark Character Profiler. These are the detours, the hidden trails off the main path where we explore the overlooked, the unexpected, and real-world psychological echoes. Let's get into today's side quest. Today, I want to take a closer look at one of the most powerful experiences I've had so far. Meeting Dan Stidham, the attorney who represented Jessie Misskelley in the West Memphis 3 case. I met Dan at Imaginarium, which is a convention for authors that occurs in Louisville, Kentucky. When I first walked up to his table, it felt so surreal. I was meeting someone who stood at the center of one of the most serious crimes to have ever taken place. He was kind, thoughtful, and more than willing to talk. He even gifted me a signed copy of his book, A Harvest of Innocence, and inside he wrote, "For truth and justice." It was a phrase that I've heard 100 times in legal texts, but hearing it from someone who spent years fighting for a misunderstood young man gave it an entirely new weight. Our conversation quickly turned to Jessie. Dan spoke about the coerced confession, how Jessie, because of his intellectual disability, didn't fully grasp what was happening or what he was agreeing to. He told me about the failed attempt at a not guilty by reason of insanity plea. Jessie couldn't meaningfully assist in his own defense, but the system moved forward anyway. And when they finally brought in someone who considered themselves a quote-unquote expert witness to support the plea, the expert turned out not to be fully licensed, which means they were still under the supervision of an actual licensed psychologist. It was a devastating blow for the case. Dan also talked about the human side, the pressure, the criticism, the exhaustion of representing someone the world had already decided was guilty. Listening to him, you realize that justice isn't just about evidence or courtrooms. It's about endurance. That encounter shifted how I think about criminal psychology and villainy. We spend so much time analyzing why people commit crimes, but not enough time looking at the systems that sometimes fail them. Jessie's story, like so many others, shows how easily vulnerability can be mistaken for guilt. When you combine intellectual disability, coercion, and social pressure, the line between truth and confession becomes blurred. As someone who studies the psychology of villains, I couldn't help but wonder, how many real-world tragedies are the result of systems that create villains out of the misunderstood? That meeting with Dan wasn't just a highlight of my time at Imaginarium. It was a reminder of why I do what I do. Thank you so much for listening to this Side Quest minisode. If you found it thought-provoking, follow Dark Character Profiler and stay tuned for next week's full-length episode. Until then, keep questioning the stories we're told, because truth and justice don't always share the same path. That's the end of this Side Quest minisode. Thank you for coming along with me on a journey off the beaten path. See you next time.
That's it for today's side quest. If you have any topic suggestions, send us an email at darkcharacterprofiler@gmail.com. Don't forget, Dark Character Profiler returns next week. Thank you for listening.